Before we get started with today's video, I want to let you guys know that this was an excerpt from stream a couple days ago. Now, why that's important is because I'm using a new program called Meld instead of OBS. So there are still some audio kinks that I'm working out, meaning that the game audio and my voice audio are all on the same track when they shouldn't be. So the game is a little louder than it normally is, which means you shouldn't have any issues hearing me, but if you do, that's why. Anyway, Zenless is one of the best communities right now. Shit, I believe it. How do I get better at this game? Easy peasy. Is that Uriel? Lord Uriel? Getting better at this game, I'm gonna show you the thing that no other game in the gacha space has, but they all should have it, okay? Every game in the gacha space should 100% have this. Done. Every single gacha game should have that. Clip it and ship it. You guys need a training mode. If Wuthering Waves had a training mode, I promise you I'd be coming up with some of the most fucked up shit in the game, combo wise, right? It doesn't matter if it's optimal for like clearing Tower of Adversity. It's just fun. That's it. I've devalued my thought process on Wuthering to where I don't really give a fuck about clearing the meta or clearing it like whatever way. Pedals, what's poppin', McDog? How you doing? I just want to have fun. Okay, and Zenless is the same way. The difference in Zenless is that like me having fun somehow turns into me optimizing shit and it works out. But you guys need a training mode. Simple as that. It's super simple. It's very basic. I'm really hoping that they listen to some of the feedback that we've given them during the surveys and then ask or put in more training mode options, give us the new enemy types. There's so many new enemies in the game that we actually don't have access to. But if I were playing the game and you said like, how do you get better at it? Ideally, you would train against whatever's going on. So like, let's say that you were having a tough time fighting. Oh yeah, Dullahan and Thanatos are really good for this because this is how I learned how to fight them. All right. So let's say you're having a really hard time fighting like Dullahan, right? Dullahan has this thing. I made a video on this a while back. I don't remember if I turned it into a short, but basically you can kind of telegraph, or he telegraphs some of his moves, right? So that's a charge, and you can come in here, and because there's no risk, you can sit here and like learn everything all the time. I do this in fighting games. I do this in Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter's a little different though, because you gotta fight the monster. But thankfully with World and then Rise and then now Wilds, you can just go into the wild. Like you can go into the open world and you can just like watch the monster where you don't have to like, there's no risk for you losing. You know what I mean? And so when I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I'm struggling against Dullahan. How do I fight Dullahan? I come in here and I just study his movement pattern. All action games are you learning how to respond to something being done to you and what you do as a response, right? That's why I compare them a lot to fighting games, because it's always a back and forth. This is the move that I'm talking about though. Boom. You see how he charges up? Now let me explain what the telegraph is. We're gonna wait for it for him to do it again, all right? And I'm gonna show you where the telegraph is so that you kind of have an idea of what's going on. And I'm gonna give myself max energy just so I can do a cool thing. Come on, Mr. Dullahan. I'd appreciate if you just, did your thing. Here we go. The flash is gonna go away. Look at that. On command. On command. Right? And why was I able to do that? Because the telegraph, every enemy in the game has some form of like, I'm telling you what I'm gonna do. The only enemies in the game that are removing this tower above like floor 30 or something like that, anything that takes away the flashes, I don't remember the specific name that they are, but what do you call it? The purple ones. The enemies that are all purple and like they have stuff coming out of them or whatever, right? Any enemy like that, and then any enemy that is like super red, right? Like the fucked up, like Pompey's new version or whatever. Those enemies have telegraphed attacks, and then they have like fake outs. A fake out is basically where it looks like they're gonna do something, and then they say, nah, I'm really not gonna do that. I'm gonna do this other thing. Demonized might be the term, yeah. So they have these fake out attacks. Those are the ones that really trip you up, and like you just kind of have to learn and play around it. But yes, enemies in Zenless Zone Zero have bait moves. I fucking love that. No other gacha game that I've played right now has bait moves. Check my DMs for a bit. I got you. So yeah, that's kind of what's happening here with what's going on. There are people asking for you to make a breakdown of fighting game terms for Zenless. Wait, really? Who? Why? I'm not opposed to it, but like, why? You can disable the flashes at training mode. You cannot. You can't disable the flashes at training mode, which is something else we can talk about. So if you're training against something like Pompey, right, which has the fake outs, unfortunately, because the game just has not given us those new options in training mode, you have to go fight Pompey. Thankfully, Zenless is still a game where like you don't lose anything for losing, right? Like if I were to tell you to go fight something in like a Street Fighter, you lose rank, you get a win-loss record. So it's a little bit more demotivating. But in this game, you don't lose anything. You just mean like long windups? No. So a fake out, I wish I had an example of this without having to go to it, but essentially a fake out is like this, right? Let's say that I'm playing Caesar and I'm the enemy, okay? And so we know Caesar has 1, 2, 3, okay? Boom. Now, if I were to do something and you knew that every time I did 1, 2, 3 was gonna come out, okay? That's a telegraphed attack. So you know she's always gonna do 1, 2, 3, which means you can prepare for shield throw. You can parry, you can dodge, you can block, whatever. Let's say if I did 1, 2, and instead of doing 3, I did something like 1, 2, dash cancel, right? And I canceled it into a shield bash. This would be considered a fake out in the game. It's the enemy is showing you a certain pattern. You get used to the pattern, and then they do something that is not a part of that pattern whatsoever. Shadow Jane has things because she's so, I love the Shadow Jane boss fight because it feels like you're fighting a character that just does not give a fuck. She's dashing, she's moving, she has a parry, she has that load up attack. What boss does that? As I mentioned, any bosses that have the like the demonized version of them, there's another form that it's called too. Demonized versions of these enemies have that. Shadow fights have that. So Shadow Jane and Shadow Pokra. Shadow Pokra actually has some fake out moves, and the gun guy, I don't know his name, but the shadow version of the gun guy, he also has fake out moves. Basically, the higher up you go in the game, the more technical the game becomes, and it makes you lock in. You have to lock in, right? You can't just sit here and okay, I cleared in 30 seconds. Like it just doesn't work that way. Just dodge better. Yeah, you could. Now going back to what I was showing you guys about the fake, not the fake out, but the telegraph, right? You guys saw that my boy here, is he just not gonna do anything? My guy? Okay, there we go. Right here, boom. I attacked too early and I was able to interrupt him because I used Caesar's attack. Okay? But he has that little charge. And if you pay attention to the charge, it'll flash. Whenever it's done, it goes away, right? Whenever it goes away, that's when you need to dodge or parry or whatever the case may be. And even you saw how that move right there, you see him literally getting behind me. He's literally right. And this is like a Dullahan's low level. This is not the crazy version of Dullahan. This is base level of Dullahan. The cool thing about Dullahan and a couple other enemies in the game is that they have moves, if you give them the time or if they're just, very aggressive, where they try and trip you up. If you were just attacking, if you were going forward, whatever, and you're not paying attention to what he's doing, what would happen in a situation like that? Let's say he was gonna do the hop thing, right? He hops and spins around you. Because that move it's set up, the move is guaranteed to do a complete get behind you. If you stood still, which I did twice right there, he always, a sidestep, thank you. He always sidesteps to get behind you. It's guaranteed he's gonna get behind you. So you have to get out of the way if you don't want to get hit, right? Now we have lock on. So lock on makes it so that even if I'm attacking like this way, lock on would make it so that I'm always attacking towards him. So it makes it a little easier for you guys. But let's say that I wasn't using lock on because there's him and another mob, right? And then now my lock on gets fucked up. So if I'm attacking like the other guy, maybe that way, whatever, there's not another guy. So I'm trying to like force it, but you get what I'm saying? And he does that sidestep and I'm still attacking. What ends up happening is now that he's behind me, he gets a free attack. You saw that he went for the charge. The other time he went for the shield bash, and a time before that he just immediately did the slash, the double slash. So they have things about them that make it better, right? And then yeah, sometimes auto lock just fucks you up in the game. He tried to do it again, and here he's doing it right here. And because I know what he's doing, right, I see it. It's easy for me to see. Even right there, the dash, knowing your distance, that's a fighting game thing though, for sure. Knowing the distance of when, or his range, right? Like the hitbox, where is his hitbox and where's my hurt box? Me doing one back dash was enough for me to get out of the way without even activating the thingamabob, because I know the range. You see what I'm saying? And so this is why training mode is fucking amazing. Doing all of this in training mode with no repercussions, right? There's no time limit. There's no score. I have infinite HP, infinite meter, whatever. I'm able to just sit here and learn how to play the game better. This is answering that guy's question earlier. I forgot who asked, I apologize, but this is answering the question of like, how does someone get better at Zenless Zone Zero? You literally just give yourself time and you learn. It's not something that is so difficult to do, and it's not so tedious, right? I know that like learning things in like maybe practice mode with fighting games, right? I know I keep bringing up fighting games, but that's just what I'm more familiar with, so it's easier for me to reference that stuff or my experience with that. If I were to use this with Valorant, and I love me some Valorant, okay guys? Learning Valorant is fucking hard. I would rather play fighting games and like learn fighting games for like days before learning how to play Valorant. Now mind you, I've already done it, but Valorant's hard because you don't get to just practice Valorant on your own. Valorant practice comes from you playing against another team. You have to make team calls. You have to be good at the game. There's so much more that goes into Valorant. Zenless Zone Zero, thankfully, is not that case whatsoever. And when it comes into, I guess like this and learning what you can and can't do, you have all these enemy types. If I wasn't playing against Lycaon, and let's say that at one point Thanatos was giving people the work. Why? And there's a busted version of Thanatos that's like better too. But you see the thing he does right there? Phew, he shoots it off, okay? This here, what did I just teach you guys about Lycaon? That flash is, it's your visual cue to know what's going on, to get out of there, right? Him doing his little, that's 1-2, this is telegraph. Yo, pedals, thank you. This move right there, the 1-2-3 is telegraphed. At any level, the basic level and right above it, something like that, the basic version of Thanatos, these are telegraph moves, 1-2-3. On the third hit, he's always gonna swing down, right? And that's the hit, as you guys can see, that's the hit that I get my parry, right? But if I wasn't doing that, okay, what the other version of Thanatos has, he'll do this like 4 or 5 times and then just stop. And he stays invisible. And it's some of the coolest shit ever, right? Because he will stay invisible for like a second or two. And you're like, where'd you go? What he's doing, the game is smart. The AI is smart. What they're doing is they're fighting against players that are playing on autopilot. Autopilot basically means you're not thinking anymore. You're just doing shit, right? You're playing because you think it's gonna happen. Invisibility breaks lock on, exactly what Key said. And what ends up happening is, let's say that he did 1-2-3, okay? He does 1-2-3. You expect him to do 1-2-3 because he was doing whatever, right? That's a telegraph thing. What ends up happening is now, just like how I show you guys with Seth, like Seth has like 4 options or 5 options you can do after you get a stun, right? Or after you get his move, his charge attack. Oh my bad, his extended hold attack. He has a bunch of options. Well, guess what? Notorious Thanatos also has a bunch of options. So when he does 1-2-3, this is like, he can do so many things. He can do 1-2 stop. He can do 1-2 attack. He can attack you after the first teleport. He can do 1-2-3 pause, 3 teleport attack. He can do 1-2-3 stay invisible. And because you would have done, oh, well, on the third hit, I just parried. You're gonna go 1-2-3 parry button, right? And what's gonna happen is your character is gonna do an improper switch, which is gonna look like this. It's gonna go 1-2-3, right? 1, 2, I'm gonna switch out, and then something like that would happen. But the difference is when he does it, because he never, he'll never do the actual attack in that moment. He stays invisible. you're gonna get a switch. You're not gonna get the parry. So they're not gonna come out in the defensive position. They're just gonna run out. What he'll do after that is quite literally, you're getting smacked up. And if you're unfortunate, this is what we call a happy birthday in fighting games. If both of your characters get hit at the same time and they're still on the field, that is called a happy birthday. If he hits both of your characters, they're both taking damage. So you better hope that he doesn't kill the other one. And this is another reason why I tell you guys that, oh yeah, Caesar's shield is awesome, whatever. Caesar's shield doesn't work in situations like that if you get like happy birthday, right? If he hits the character switching out, they're taking that damage because you have the active character has the shield. The game is not coded so that everyone has the shield. So if you swap in the active character now has the shield, right? And you just like this, boom. So if I keep swapping out, boom. If Nicole were to get hit right there or Caesar got hit right there, they're taking that damage. Yeah, only one person can wear the crown. That's a good way to think about it. Exactly. Shout out to MVC3. Big facts. Wombo combo. Wombo. Oh! That's from Smash Bros. But still. Anyway, point being is that everything is telegraphed, right? 36K on the parry? Okay, wait a minute. See, DPS Caesar might be cooking. But my point being, all right, guys, I know this might have been a long-winded video. I didn't even mean for this to be a long-winded video, but I like to talk and I love the game. So it just kind of spilled out, all right? It's easier for you to learn how to play Zenless if you want to by just sitting in training mode. And even though we don't have every single enemy, right? What this does is it teaches you the fundamental or the fundamentals of how to learn. Because now what I can do, you know, this guy right here, 1-2, okay? I can see his patterns. Even if I fight a version of him that's notorious or higher up, I don't have to be as afraid. And now it's easier for me to learn what's a fake out and what's not a fake out, right? If we fight notorious Thanatos, it's easier for us to see, excuse me, when he does 1, 2, 3 pause or 1, 2, 3 he's going to attack, right? And again, excuse me, not again, but higher up, they take away the flash. So a lot of you guys depend on that yellow flash right there. A lot of y'all depend on seeing the yellow flash in order to get that parry. But what happens at higher level play or the higher levels, they just take it away. You don't know if it's a red parry or a red flash or a yellow flash. If it's a red flash and you do a swap, you're getting killed. So, you know, you do it by sound now. Yes, sir, we're gonna get you out of here. Here comes the fuck you sound guy, all right? We're gonna get you the fuck out of here, all right, bro? But that's all, man, that's all. We can go back to building up Caesar, all right? I think she's pretty solid so far.